Well, I think to be an entrepreneur, I think you have to be determined. I think you have to sort of focus in what you want to be entrepreneurial about. I think you have to have some luck and somebody that can finance you along the way.
Sometimes all that glitters is gold. And diamonds, if you happen to be Jim Dunn, the namesake and owner of J.R. Dunn Jewelers. Along with his wife Anne Marie and son Sean, James Robert Dunn has shown a Midas touch in establishing himself as one of South Florida's most successful entrepreneurs and premier jewelers.
I think the difference between us and the competitors, and especially the South Florida area, is that we are a complete facility. Nothing leaves our facility. We do everything from the design to the manufacturing. We're not just a jewelry store, we're a jewelry factory as well.
Jim's unequivocal belief in constant advertising has also contributed to his success.
We're out there 360 days a year, and we're in almost every media. You might go with television for a couple of years and then you switch back over to radio. And if you've heard my son Sean on the radio, Uncle Sean, for 5 years selling diamonds, but it drives it home, the message. And I think, again, it comes back to consistency.
The most entrepreneurial thing about my father is not having a fear of taking risks. And, you know, he's not afraid to try new things, and he's not afraid of if it doesn't work, it's not going to devastate him. He's going to persevere. And, you know, tomorrow he'll wake up with another great idea and go forward with that.
I think what's impressive is that he achieved success without a lot of without a lot of flash and fanfare. He doesn't feel the need to grab the spotlight. He just goes out, rolls up his sleeves, and does the same work that everybody else does. And that's quite admirable.
It's a quality that could be traced back to Jim's childhood.
Well, that's all right, Mama. That's all right.
Probably the person in my life that was the strongest was my mother, actually, because my father died when I was 7 years old, and my mother worked 3 jobs to kind of keep my brother and I under the roof, so to speak. And so we didn't see much of her, but I think that her drive and her spirit is what really probably gave me a lot of direction in my life.
His mother's hard work enabled Jim and his older brother Donald to grow up enjoying what he refers to as the good old country life.
I grew up in Braintree, Massachusetts, and when we were little kids we used to go down and ride horses and shoot BB guns and all the other stuff you do, and pick blueberries, and all those things have changed now.
And of course there was the traditional young entrepreneur business venture, the paper route.
I think the paper route is probably a defining factor in a lot of people's lives if you ever had one, because you kind of get all the experiences you get in business. Number one, you have to deliver the product. Number two, you have to collect the money.
Throughout high school and college, Jim pursued hands-on type of work as a mechanic and in construction, an industry he might have made a career in. Still, in 1966, Jim would graduate from the University of Bridgeport and begin working for IBM as a salesman. Although he did well, he aspired for a greater type of success. That one day presented itself during one of his sales calls.
I actually called on a jewelry company in Malden, Massachusetts, and the gentleman happened to have a little magazine outside that was about the jewelry business, and I was always interested in rocks and geology. So on my vacations at IBM, I would do a correspondence course, and I'd go for a week to New York and learn about diamonds and colored stones. And I bought a little microscope, and I was playing scientist at home.
Jim was also playing husband at home, having met his wife and future partner Anne Marie at IBM. Together, they would begin to transition from their day jobs and start forging a dream of a lifetime. When Jim and Anne Marie Dunn decided to go into the jewelry business, they pooled their resources and, with about $10,000 worth of inventory, opened the House of Gems in Massachusetts.
Unfortunately, we got robbed in between an insurance policy. So we put whatever we had back into the business, and it took us a while, but we had to go to everybody's home that got robbed, that we had their jewelry. And we had to knock on their door, go on a Sunday morning, tell them we will replace what, you know, we lost your charm bracelet, we lost your earrings. It was terrible. Every one of those clients became our best clients.
Typically, to escape the brutal Northeast winter, the Dunns would come down to Florida around Christmas time.
We bought a house in Lighthouse Point at the time, and the business was going rather well in Boston. I couldn't cut the cord, so I commuted for about 15 years. Every 2 weeks up there for a week, 2 weeks back down here, and back and forth. And in the meantime, we were building up the business down here.
By 1978, the Dunns had established their South Florida jewelry enterprise as a clientele by appointment-only store. Their little boutique would eventually become an 8,000 square foot flagship store in Lighthouse Point. And by the time the Las Olas branch opened, the Massachusetts store had long been sold. Sean, who came aboard in 1997, credits his own success to the values his father instilled in him since childhood.
He says you can be whatever you want, and you know, he's always been like that my whole entire life, and you know, he's given me so much latitude. We've done, you know, a lot of great strides since I've been involved with the business, and it's because he's given me the confidence to be able to take those steps and not be afraid of failing. If you have a fear of going forward, then you'll never get anywhere, and that's the way he's, you know, run his business. I think the most impressive thing about my father, considering, you know, what he's achieved and what he's done in his life, is still his compassion for people.
If you're in business and if people in your community are supporting you, you should go back and support the community. I've been very involved with the Boys and Girls Club actually for a number of years, and we do what we call Dunn's Run every year. We've done that for 10 years, and we raise about $100,000 a year, every year with that.
The best thing about being a colleague of Jim Dunn is that is the respect he has in the community, and it's nice to be around people like that. And I would say that his honesty and his integrity are something that have always been among his most attractive qualities. And I would say probably the only thing better than being a Jim Dunn customer is being a Jim Dunn friend.
Or in Sean's case, a part of his family.
The best thing about being my father's son is the fact that we've developed our relationship into a best friendship. I know I always can count on him. I love him very much, and he's a great father.
I've been very fortunate, and I think that the most important thing in my life is my family, my wife, and my son Sean, and that we're fortunate enough as a family to work together and in the same business and still get along. Still be good friends and have a great love and respect for each other.
And for Jim Dunn, love and respect, topped with integrity, continue to be the best way to achieve success in business or in life. 2007 Entrepreneur Hall of Fame honoree, James R. Dunn.